Hello and welcome everyone to Projectkin's project recipe event, Scavenger Hunt for Ancestors, with Anna Schutz, who's going to be joining us to share a very special program today. As with all of these Projectkin events, our events are free and we're delighted to welcome all of you. This event will be recorded and shared from our Projectkin forum, where we have articles and recordings and project recipes actually written down available to everyone. And I will be sending that out to all registered attendees for this event, as well as to our community as a whole. I'm Barbara Tien, and delighted to welcome Anna Schutz as our speaker today. Anna has been a loyal member to the previous company I was a co-founder of, Ponga, and joined us right at the beginning as we kicked this off as our post-Ponga community, and now Projectkin. And she is our first of our two-timer presenters on Projectkin, and I'm delighted to welcome her in this special holiday focused event of things that we can do as we get together as families to share this love of our family history stories. All of us here at Projectkin are committed to the stories in our families that tell us who we are, where we came from, and frankly, our connection to history and our local communities. And with that, as a very brief introduction, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Anna. We keep these, try to keep these presentations short and tight, so we stick to an hour as a recording, but we also end the recording after that so we can chat a bit amongst ourselves without the recording as well. And everyone is always welcome to the event. And with that, let me turn it over to you, Anna. I will drop our cover slide and take it from here. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I'll try to share my screen. So I can't see you now, but this is my presentation. I will try to follow
Perfect.
it.
We see you. No problem at all.
So as it says, it's a scavenger hunt for ancestors, and it's how to turn your family history into a fun game for all ages. And you can do that in different ways. And the pictures here, there is a family tree, there is a map, and there is how you can use a map. And this is an answer sheet for a quiz. So the goal for a scavenger hunt would be, or any activity that you do, is to share your knowledge and histories of your ancestors with those that are not so involved in genealogy, because not everyone in your family is interested in family research. And to find a way that involves children and young people in family history that makes them interested and not bored. And the question is, how do you do this? The picture here is the front of one of the books that I'm writing, that I'm quite sure not everyone is going to read, but I'm trying to find ways to share the histories anyway. So the families in question here is know your target group for the activity, what ages, what interests, what places do they come from, and what places are you intending to deliver your activity in. So in my case, it's my sister and my brother-in-law's family history, which is the Schutz and the Spence. So Schutz is Swedish, Spence is British. And the age is from 2 years old to, you know, as old as possible, basically. And the family that I'm sort of the larger family that I will be doing the activity with is a family that loves quizzes and competitions, and they thrive on problem solving. The pictures here are that it's a glass blower, and it's the oldest continuous glass work in Sweden that was opened in 1742, which is part of the family tree. So what I came up with was to run a team-based scavenger hunt in my sister's garden in the UK. So I will be using a quiz, a treasure hunt, craft activity, which will give me a scavenger hunt. And the 2 garden pictures are from the garden where it will be delivered. So I wanted to use traditional methods combined with mobile phones and iPads.
Excuse me, Anna.
Yeah.
Are you changing slides? Because we are still seeing the title slide.
Oh, I am. I am changing, and you seeing the same all the time?
I'm still seeing this. Yes.
Okay.
Perhaps you're sharing a different screen than we're looking at.
Let me try again then and see if there is something else I can. Could be that one. So no. Chrome tab doesn't seem to want to share it at all.
I have the PDF you sent me earlier.
Yeah.
Okay. Moment, please.
That's a bit strange.
It is always on the moment. That's when it's going to happen. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. You're going to tell me next slide, please. How about that?
Okay. Yep, that sounds fair.
Let me just bring it over. Oops. So hold on a second. There we go. And bring it over here. Whoops. One moment, please. I gotta fool around with my own Canva quit. There we go. You over there. There it goes. Whoops. So I am presenting from your slides adjusted into Keynote, which should work, right? Oops.
Yeah.
No, it's going on the wrong screen. Here we go. That's right. I can't do that. All right. So we'll not get too fancy here. I'm just going to slide only, hide that. It's not going to be full beauty, but it will work. There we go. All right. Come back here and share slides. Just pick right back up where we were. There we go. Okay.
Okay, so change slide.
Yes, of course. Keep going.
Yeah, and change slide. Yeah, so this is the glass factory I was talking about.
Right.
Or glass works, rather. Change slide.
Get my mouse over there. Hold on. Okay. The garden.
Yeah, so this is the garden where I'm planning to, part of the garden where I'm planning to deliver it.
Beautiful. Okay. Go on. We'll pretend that didn't happen.
Yeah, change slide. So can you see? No, you can't. So where the numbers are,
Yep.
it's almost like a triangle. That's the garden on a map. What it looks like. And I wanted to use traditional methods combined with mobile phones and iPads, because that's the devices that this family use. Then I realized that I had to cut down on the electronic devices because the internet connection in this part of UK is not very good. It's extremely spotty, both indoors and outdoors.
Wow.
Why, I don't know, but we can leave that behind.
Yeah, it's probably quite beautiful.
Yeah. So this map, and you can see a list with the numbers and the hint. I will have that available so they can download it to their devices and bring it with them out.
I see.
When they go around.
Okay.
To find the different questions. And yeah. Wendy House is basically a playhouse for children, for those of you who are North Americans. It's a British word.
Thank you for the translation.
Call it Wendy House.
Wow. Okay.
And the rhododendron bush is extremely large. You can actually walk into it. So I can hide it inside the bush. And the vines is actually grapes that they grow.
Oh, wow.
In the garden. They don't make enough grapes to make wine out of it, but they do jelly.
Oh, nice.
Grape jelly from it. But basically, there's lots of different sheds and greenhouses and things that you can use. So if we swap slide. So at each place, each question, so the questions I will make like this on Canva, and it will be a multiple choice, 1, 2, 3. So the first question says, what was Phoebe Phyllis Beasley's occupation 1901 according to the census? She was British, and in Britain you have the census 01, 11, 21 and so on, while America has
the even years.
Yeah. So there is a slight difference there. I have to explain.
Yeah.
There will be a hint here. In this case, the hint is Phoebe is a great-grandmother to Julian, which is my brother-in-law. The photo is said woman. And then I have 3 options: boarding house proprietors, seamstress, or professional singer. And you saw the answer sheet on the front page. You tick in question 1 and which answer you want to choose. Next to this will be a photo, this photo, and on the back will be a QR code that will take you to a website that will have more information about her and her life, who she married, who her children were, when she got divorced, etc., etc.
So the questions are on their phones. Is that right, or is it on a printout?
The question will be physical out in the garden, like that sheet.
I see. And then they have their cards, or they have with them where they tick off the answers. I see.
An answer sheet, yeah. And they will also have. We'll get back to that. They will have something to collect things in.
Okay.
So they will collect a photo with a QR code on the back, so that when they get to somewhere where you have internet connection, you can actually check out more about this person.
I see. Okay.
There will be one more thing to pick up at each question. It could be a recipe. It could be string. It could be a scissor. It could be glue. It could be a sign saying pick sticks when you walk around in the garden, or
something useful. And are there, when you have like a card with the thing on the back and they take it with them, so you have a collection of these like in a little basket or something in that hidden location?
Yeah, there will be a bag depending on the weather.
I see.
So it will be waterproofed in case it's bad weather.
Yeah.
And next slide. This is another question. This is on the Swedish side. As a curiosity, there is some connection with sweets in the family. How? And the link is one is Mai's grandfather, and the other one is the husband of Mai's first cousin 3 times removed.
Mm.
And your choices are: one relative worked for a while in the Marabou factory, and another one started Ahlgrens, which is a sweet company that makes the famous cars and Läkerol. Option 2, one relative had a sweet shop in Gränna. Gränna is famous for boiled sweets, especially with mint flavor.
Mm.
Another one won a sweet eating competition. And the last option is: one relative wrote a book about how to make sweets at home, and another one worked at Malaco, which is yet another sweet company in Sweden. So you choose one answer. Number 1 is the correct one, I can say here. And the colored photo is my grandfather, and he worked at Marabou, which is a chocolate factory.
Mm.
And Fredrik Ahlgren, he started a sweet company that makes cars, and the slogan for cars is the most sold car in the world. It's a sweet, so you buy a bag of sweets, lots of small cars in.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. I love how you have multiple, having the 3 choices, but they aren't super obvious. If you only knew that somebody worked for a sweet company, that's not good enough. You got to know more than that.
Yeah.
And that's really lovely. Really lovely.
I have another one where I'm writing that Alec has written a book, and he will be participating in one of the teams. And he's British and American. He has dual citizenship. But the question is, which of these Swedish authors can be found in the family tree? And there's 3 different answers. The thing is that they're all correct.
Oh, you are tricky. You are tricky.
But it's just to start the conversations and to get people interested.
Yeah.
To swap slide. So to do an activity like this, and I saw the video from Simon's presentation, it is important that you use information from the correct part of your family tree. So if I deliver this to my sister and brother-in-law and their children and grandchildren and other people around them, it has to be from the branches that they are connected to.
Right. Context matters.
Yes. So it's really important what you choose from your tree. You can't just choose anything because it's interesting.
Yeah.
That's
really key.
Yeah. So at the moment, the greenish or whatever the color is supposed to be there. Actually, it looks like sick.
Teal.
This is no, not the lot where it's the level where it's 2. That's my sister and brother-in-law.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
And it's their parents, grandparents, and great grandparents. The black one, the start.
I don't have the ability to really move around in there, so.
No. Yeah. If you zoom on, so the black one is their children.
I see.
So I just use that. And their daughter is married and have a child. That child is only 2 years old. So she will love the idea of the scavenger hunt. She won't understand the stories. But my niece loves the idea because she will keep everything and then redo this later on when she can. Then, of course, we can update and use her family tree, which is this one. So the top part is British, and then we have the Chinese part, and then we have another British part, and then we have the Swedish part of it. So it will be slightly different.
Yeah. I love the idea of the interconnecting future trees, and how kids participating in these year after year can learn from what they saw in a previous game and now be teaching perhaps younger cousins and so on. That's wonderful.
The idea is that you keep the photos with the QR code so you can get back to them. Because, of course, if you change the starting point in the tree branches and go to the grandchild, then you will have to put in new questions on the new branches that turns up.
Right.
So, for example, the Chinese branch, it could be, when did they leave mainland China and move to America?
Right.
That could be a new question.
Right.
So if we swap slide. So some of the things you might need. So you see the thing with all the boxes, and you have number 1 to 11, and then you have 1, 2, 3. That's the answer sheet. You will need a pencil or a pen so you can mark your answers. You might need a basket. I would go with a basket or a fabric bag rather than a plastic bag to be a bit more eco-friendly.
Good call.
Yeah. You will need QR codes on the back of the photos. You will need kind of electronic device. You might need to have some knowledge of mixology or recipes for mocktails or cocktails, or that could be recipes among the things you pick up in the scavenger hunt. The large bit here with all the photos on that says Swedish cinnamon swirls, it's a family recipe. And that is one that could actually, for me, if you bake cinnamon swirls, that's a craft thing. So you can use a recipe. There is other family recipes for ginger fins, for chocolate toffee, for curry powder, and so on and so on.
Well, you certainly have me at the cardamom here. I'm in.
So depending on how but it's about thinking about what do you need. So if we swap the slide, a few other things that you might need string and the sticks we talked about, and photos. We have here some other mocktails and cocktails, and that will be a prize because it will be a competition since they are competitive. So the losing team will have to make cocktails and mocktails for the winning team. And to say the pair one is non-alcoholic. The one in the martini glass is non-alcoholic. The one in the coupe is a frozen strawberry daiquiri. And then we have a 1970s tequila sunrise at the bottom. In case you weren't aware.
You're very serious about this, and yet you still haven't told us what you do with the sticks. You can hold that surprise for later. You're getting to that.
I'm getting to that, but I will show you a picture later on. So
let me interrupt here with an important intrusion.
Yeah.
I love the way, and I suspect this is sort of key to your whole scavenger hunt, that there's intriguing elements and you don't know how they fit yet, and it keeps you going. Is that right? Is that part of the strategy?
So you collect things on the way, and you don't have to use all of them. You don't have to use any of them, and you can use all of them. It's your imagination.
Genius.
that sets the limits, and maybe what you have in the cupboards at home.
Yeah, genius.
When it comes to the mixing, but when it comes to the craft bit, it's also, do you have all the ingredients for baking this, or making this toffee, or making curry powder, or whatever. But when it comes to this kind of craft, so this is to make a mobile of photos. So you use the sticks and the string to make frames,
Right.
and to put the pictures in the frames, and you also then use sticks to make things to hang the photos from, and then you can hang your mobile up.
Then you get the sticks out of the garden.
Yeah. So this was something that we did during COVID. We did a newsletter that we sent out every fortnight. We started in the southwest of England, but it ended up all over the world in the end, because it spread like wildfire, and people wanted it sent. So we had to send it to New Zealand, Australia, and the US, to Canada, to Sweden, to all over Europe.
Oh, we'll talk some more about that one.
Yeah, but it was about, we were introducing activities that you could do if you were in lockup, or lockdown, or whatever they call it. But you were almost locked up anyway. But if you were in most countries in the world except for Sweden, you had to stay at home for long times and period, and you couldn't go out and get things, so you had to come up with really inventive ideas. So you could go out and pick sticks in your garden, and you would have string. This string happens to be army string from the army store. And then it was photos that I had in my room. And then I just showed how you used it to make frames. Instead of photos, you can pick leaves and flowers and put in frames. So, again, limitation, your imagination. So if we swap slide. So to sum it up, you decide your target group, and that sets the framework for everything. You create a fun activity that suits your group, and place it, and the place where it will be delivered, whether it's indoors, outdoors, is it winter, is it summer, and it has to be fun. If it's not fun, it's pointless to do it. In my case, it's a scavenger hunt, but maybe an escape room could be an interesting tweak. Depends on your group. A crime mystery that is similar to a murder mystery could be interesting. Not everyone has a murderer in their family tree, so it would be a crime mystery. That's why I'm saying so. It could be a total digital delivery. Say that you are doing something with people from all across the world, and not everyone can participate and come to the place. So you might do it in a Zoom room. So you can do an escape room on Zoom. Should the participants compete individually or as teams? That's something you have to decide on as well, depending on your target group again. Do you want them to only collect family photos, or, like in my case, be more creative? So this is an 80th birthday party in the 1930s. And the youngest person on the picture, who is being held by his dad.
Here?
Yep, that's my dad.
Oh. Wow.
And he was born in 1935. So, and the two old men sitting down on chair. The one in the dark costume is my great grandfather when he turned 80, and the other one is his brother. And then it's children and grandchildren and,
Yeah. Wow.
different kinds. And not everyone is from Sweden.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it is the glass blowing part of the family.
Wow.
Right. Swap slide. So maybe you want to go fully creative instead of digital. So you might have a family gathering, and instead of going out for a scavenger hunt, you might sit down, sit in a circle or around a table, but it's better to sit in a circle in a living room to create sort of pretend that you have a fire in the middle, the campfire. Or you might actually have fire on the side in the same room. Who knows? But you tell your individual stories, something that you remember, and you record it. And then later on, you can research it and find out, is it true, all these things that we remember?
Mm-hmm.
So it is myth or fact,
Mm-hmm.
what it was. You can make a website, a blog, a book together with your memories. Or you can, like the picture with text underneath, the two Salvation Army people here.
Mm-hmm.
This is a couple who married in Sweden. They were in the Salvation Army, and they were from two very different parts of the country, but they met in the Salvation Army and got married. The two eldest sons were born far, far up north in Sweden. And then the family emigrated to Canada and settled in British Columbia, in a part that is now underwater because Montana needed fresh water. So they created a dam. So they live in other parts of Canada now. But there is some facts underneath. And there is something that is wrong in that fact. Which I spotted straight off. So Charles Gustav, he wasn't born in Göteborg or Gothenburg. He was born in Västervåla. So he was born in a total different part of the country. That's what I mean. Then it's myth. It's not fact. Yeah.
Right.
But what they did in the Canadian part of this family stream, one of the younger children that was still alive, went out and asked all the still living children, I think they had 12 children, this couple, and younger relatives and descendants of the older siblings, because they weren't alive any longer. But they asked one person to write their memories of this person and their life, their early life in Canada. And then they made like a booklet out of this, which they call the Sandberg Saga.
Very sweet.
So that's something you can do as well.
Yeah.
Because so the youngest one was a grandson of the oldest son to this couple. And he was 13 years old when he wrote the memories of his grandfather.
Oh, wow.
And the stories that his grandfather had told him. So again, it's your target group and everything else around it that stops you. So this is the last picture, I think.
Your last slide, you mean?
Yeah, the last slide. Okay. So I'll show you a picture of the Ready mobile. If you stop sharing that one, I'll because if it's just one photo, it should work sharing it. And let's see. So that is what the mobile can look like.
Oh, not seeing it yet. There it comes. There we go.
Yeah.
Oh, Oh, what fun.
So you can make it much easier,
Right.
with sort of having,
Little ties.
flower pot sticks if you want it to be nice. But this was based on that you should be able to find it out in your garden or on your.
Right. And of course, those are all copies of photos, not the originals.
Actually, it is the originals.
Oh,
Yeah, I did use the originals. I still have them. So I didn't glue them. I used the string to keep them in place, just to
mhm.
so and my idea for this is to deliver this in the summer
Yeah.
in UK. But you can equally in the UK you can actually probably do it around Christmas, because in many places you don't have snow at Christmas.
Right.
It might rain, but as long as you waterproof whatever you put out,
Right. And send the kids out when it's not raining. Yeah.
You can use an Easter egg hunt equally.
Yeah.
So in Scandinavia and Northern Europe, you use cardboard eggs
Uh-huh.
that you take apart and put things in.
Right.
And normally you put sweets in them.
Yeah.
But you can put the things that you collect in there, or you can put the question inside.
Yeah.
You can send them out and collect the eggs and have a number, and then they take it all inside and they can work it out.
Right. Oh, I love
Indoors.
that. There are so many bits of goodness in all of this. I mean, the idea of inspiring creativity, and I forgive me for just jumping in here, but you have family gatherings, and there are so many expectations when you get to family gatherings that can be awkward and not go perfectly to plan, that somebody has a grudge or somebody's left out of something, or somebody stepped on my sandwich. And having a center, it's like having a birthday cake, and you know what's going to happen with the birthday cake. The birthday cake's going to come out, you're going to blow the candles, da 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 da. Having a little routine that then sparks creativity toward a task. It's beautiful. And you've got so many different ways to do this. I thought we were just talking about one garden.
It's a large garden, though.
No, but it's all. Go ahead.
Yeah. Looks like a big garden. Yeah.
It is a very big garden.
Yeah. What part? Where exactly in England is it?
It's in Surrey on the Hampshire border. So
down this
near
side.
the nearest town is Farnham.
Oh, I've heard of Farnham. Okay.
Mm-hmm. So and if you want to go a little bit bigger, it would be Guildford, would be the larger town. Oh. So it's about an hour with train from London Waterloo.
Okay.
So commuter belt. And they live on a street where there is really big gardens, really big houses.
How nice.
So they were lucky to buy it before the prices went skyrocketing. But my brother-in-law Julian, he grew up in Frensham, which is a village nearby. So you pass through Frensham on the way to where this place is. So it's a familiar area, and his mum, or rather we should say his adoptive mum, lived there in that area as well until she died of COVID at the age of 96, I think.
Oh, sad.
Yeah, well, she was very fragile, and she had to go to the A&E for something different. And they put her in a bed next to someone with COVID, and only a sort of
Curtain.
a
Yeah.
curtain between, and she got COVID, and 2 weeks later she was dead.
Oh,
That was it, basically. And sadly, it was very common.
yeah. Those early years. Yeah.
But yeah, so Julian was adopted at birth, but he does have nowadays contact with his biological mum,
Hmm.
and she actually ended up in Sweden. So she married a Swede and runs a bed and breakfast in Sweden.
Oh,
So what you've done with these scavenger hunts is created ways to have families of various blendings. You've mentioned so many different nationalities that are blended into a family, which bring with them the cultures and stories of their own pasts. You've highlighted the care with which you, as the planner for this event, plan it in such a way that's relevant to everybody that's participating. And you mentioned before having teams to ensure that the little ones are not left in the dust as the competition sets up, and the competition is among the teams, not generations, right?
Yeah.
Can you highlight some of the other sort of success factors to make this work? See, I know some of this because I read your recipe that's going to come out with all of this.
When you put the teams together, you need to look at mixing the ages.
Mm-hmm.
You need to look at mixing between the branches.
Mm-hmm.
So you have people who can answer questions on both sides of the family tree.
Yeah. So as the organizer, you're saying it's a good practice to pick the teams. You don't let people just decide, oh, all of the Joneses versus the Smiths.
No, I would try to mix it up.
Yeah.
I know that what they normally do when it comes to knowledge, they normally divide the teams into Cambridge and Oxford, depending on which university they went to.
I think that's a British thing. I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's very, it would be Harvard and Yale probably in the US.
We're on the California, but that's okay. We'll let all that go.
Exactly. But it's extremely British. Yes, they would go. So some of them went to Cambridge. They would compete in one team. Some of them went to Oxford, and then the rest of us would be divided between those teams.
I see. Yeah.
how many people together?
So it depends on it depends on when. So at Christmas, for example, I think the last Christmas I celebrated there was 2021, and I think we were like 15 people in total.
Yeah.
However, some of those would not be on the branches where the questions are, so that would be people that you have to divide up as well.
Yeah.
But some of them would have knowledge and others would not. So the Stevenson family has known everyone for quite a long time. They've been to Sweden a lot, so they would know both the Swedish and the British side of the tree.
Mm-hmm.
While the Wu family or the Gibson family would only know the British part of the family tree, not the Swedish one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So again, for me to organizing it, I would have to, if they choose the teams and I can see that this is not going to work, I would have to flip around a bit.
Well, besides that, mixing people up, they get to know each other a little bit better.
Yeah.
And
I've done a similar thing, but it wasn't a scavenger hunt. It was just a quiz bit on a wedding some years ago. So we had 12 questions then, and it was again multiple choice, 3 choices, and it was both the bride and the groom on their family tree, but equal with questions. Some easier, some harder, some tricky, as you called it. Well, it could be no correct answer or lots of correct
Oh.
answers. And it was set up so that people had, so between the actual wedding and the dinner, because it was a barbecue, and they had to sort of set the tables because it was in a cafe. So the cafe had to close and reorganize all the insides and set up the tables for the dinner. And they had to barbecue the food.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, people went around in the sunshine
Yeah.
and just answered these
Distracted.
questions.
Yeah.
And they could go individually, they could go in groups, they could ask other people. And then during the dinner, among all the speeches, instead of doing a speech, because it was my brother who got married, I just stood up and I gave all the correct answers. But instead of just saying, oh, the answer on this question is this, I was telling it like a story. And sort of, oh, yeah, you would think that it would be this person or that, but it's actually this.
And here's why. Yeah.
So it comes again back to the fun bit. Don't do it like a school session, an academic school session, because that's not fun. It has to be interesting. It has to be funny. Put jokes in, mess around, and make it as a happening. It's a stand-up thing, stand-up comedy.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Well, we have a wedding coming in our family, so I'm paying attention.
Yes,
to
it's
make
such
it
a
fun.
simple thing to do, and you don't have to do the treasure hunt, scavenger hunt part of it. You can just do the quiz bit, but you can have photos. But it is, it's again, one of the questions we had on this wedding was that the wedding ring that the bride was using was a very elaborate thing with stone on it. The question was, who did the ring originally belong to? Her family, because it had been handed down a few generations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And of course, all the options were on her side of the family tree, just to be annoying. It had been too easy if the other options had been on the groom's side of the tree.
Right.
In this case,
Yeah.
since we know that, and it's a similar thing. So when Vicky, my niece, got married, we didn't have anything like this, but she was given a quite large crystal glass bowl, oval shaped, and it was my parents that gave it as a wedding gift to her and her husband. And for me then, as a family historian, I had to tell the whole story, who it came from originally. And when he was, so it was basically from my grandmother's father, so
wow.
great grandfather, and he was given it by his colleagues when he turned 60.
All in the glass blowing business?
No, he didn't work in the glass blowing business. It was his daughter who married the glass working business, and her cousin who married the glass working business. So the next generation down married into glass working business, but there is still a connection, because it might have been done by one of the glass factories started by different people in the family tree.
Right. Well, wow. This has been such fun, Anna. Were there any last questions as we wrap up? Jojo, did you have any questions or thoughts? That's okay. You're welcome to chime in at any time. Go ahead, Linda. I think I interrupted you.
It's just marvelous. Thank you. It's just great to hear such a thing. To see a family get together like that and
Yeah.
participate. Yeah.
Yeah, it certainly is inspiring, a little bit scary, to be honest, to be responsible for everybody having a good time. It's like
Yeah.
hosting an event is scary enough as it is. Layering in this kind of thing can be especially tricky. But I think maybe some of the tricks are, as you've shared, and getting the primary people, inspired and eager to do this. In other words, if it's a wedding, making sure that the bride and groom are excited about doing this kind of thing, and or whatever the combination is, the birthday girl and parties or graduations and things like that.
So if you have lots of people that you don't know all of them, just a quiz might be the simplest thing. Or you can use snippets of stories and make it into a speech. Quite hilarious speech.
Yeah.
And
Jeopardy.
otherwise it is know your target group and let that design whatever you deliver.
Right. In our family, for example, Jeopardy has been a part of the lifeblood the way Star Trek has been. It's a nerdy group. And, it's what is Jeopardy, but a reverse, a quiz essentially.
Yeah.
But always making sure you're mixing up the generations, always making sure that it's fun. It can be competitive, but it can also, as long as it's fun first. It's, some of the key lessons, the takeaways. I love the idea of mixing in crafts from things that you find. That's always hits my buttons.
And this is the thing, if you want the craft to not do something with the photos, rather to do something with, like baking.
Yeah.
If you have a family recipe for something, what you do then is that you can put the ingredients out, so they collect the ingredients. And then the last thing they pick up is the recipe.
Yeah. And let them take them home, even, putting the dry goods in a jar and the wet goods in a jar, that kind of thing can work.
Yeah. So and also you can have, if you put the recipe out, try to have the photo of if it comes from a specific person, you have the photo of that person. Or like with the cinnamon swirls, which is a living recipe, it keeps changing with generations and people. So we just collected photos of all people that have been involved in that.
Now you've included that secret family recipe in your slides. I'm looking at it right here. Can I try it?
You can try it, yes. It's quite good in the way that it's no eggs in it. So if you have people who are allergic to eggs, which can be
a real bummer.
It's one of the allergies that can kill you.
Yeah. I know someone with that.
The only thing you do is that you don't put egg on top before you put the sugar.
Egg wash. Yeah.
So no egg wash. You can do water wash or no wash at all, or you can use aquafaba or something like that.
I'll include this in the slides, but anybody that wants to take an instant screenshot, here's your chance.
and if you see the pictures, there is a picture at the one furthest to the right, the little child that holds a brush in the hand. That's me, 11 months old.
With the brush in the hand.
And
right here.
The woman below me is my great grandmother.
Oh.
And the woman next to me is she has nothing to do with these buns, but our gingerbread dough recipe comes from her.
Very sweet. Very sweet. Well, maybe that's a great place to end. I
Yes.
want to thank you so much, Anna. As busy as you are right now, you stepped up with this amazing story to be told, complete with, oh, she's getting that recipe. I think, and Linda, on your keyboard, there is a button that says print screen. I'm not sure. You're on a PC as I refer.
You know me and the screen.
No, I know your iPad. We'll get this to you also in the slides, which will be attached and shared with all members. I want to thank you again so much, Anna, for coming through to make this happen and doing it with such humor and charm, as well as news you can use. We can actually go through and cook these ideas up, as well as the recipes too. So with that, let me stop the tape, and all of you can stay for a few more minutes if you can, and continue the conversation. Thank you again.